All right, let's dive in. Today we're getting into the nitty-gritty of good laboratory practices, or GLP for short.
GLP, yeah.
If you're an industrial biotech and you want to wrap your head around this stuff fast, especially like with unit 4 material in mind,
Right.
this deep dive is for you. We're going to break it down plain and simple.
Yeah, we're aiming for that clear understanding without getting lost in the weeds.
Exactly. So what are we really talking about here?
What?
Our source lays it out pretty clearly. Good laboratory practices, it's a whole set of principles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're there to guarantee we can trust those non-clinical safety studies. Think about pharmaceuticals, pesticides, things we all use every day.
And it's fascinating how far-reaching those principles are. We're not just talking about what happens in the lab itself. GLP, it covers everything.
Oh, yeah?
From how you design the safety study in the first place to how meticulously you record data, report the findings, and even archive that information for the long haul.
So it's like a total package deal.
It is. It's all about creating that confidence that the safety data is rock solid.
And ultimately, it's about keeping us safe, right?
Absolutely. The purpose is to support the regulation of all these products and make sure they're safe for everyone. It makes you wonder what could happen if these standards weren't in place.
Yeah, no kidding. So in the grand scheme of things, imagine flawed safety data making its way through the cracks. You could end up with harmful products hitting the market.
Exactly. GLP, it provides that essential safety net, that foundation of assurance, so we can be confident that decisions about safety are based on solid evidence that you can actually verify.
Makes sense. Now, our source points out these 3 key pillars of GLP: quality, reliability, and integrity.
Right.
And on the surface, they might seem pretty obvious. But how do these principles actually play out in a field as complex as industrial biotech? How do they make a difference?
You hit the nail on the head there. Let's take integrity, for example. GLP, it's not just about keeping things tidy. It mandates very specific procedures for how data is handled.
So every little detail.
Every change, everything has to be documented in a certain way to create that clear, auditable trail. And that prevents any chance of someone manipulating data, which could really skew the safety findings.
Now, when we talk about non-clinical laboratory safety studies, just to be clear, we're talking about those initial safety tests, right?
Yeah.
The ones that don't involve actually giving these substances to people.
Exactly.
It's like laying the groundwork.
It is. It's where we identify and really characterize potential hazards. But it all happens in a very controlled lab setting, using models and systems that can mimic biological processes without involving humans in those early stages.
Makes sense. And we're talking about regulated products here,
Mm-hmm.
things like pharmaceuticals and pesticides. So those medicines in your cabinet, the products farmers use, all of those have likely gone through rigorous GLP standards during development.
Absolutely. And remember, GLP doesn't exist in isolation. It's tightly woven into other concepts.
Give me an example.
Take data integrity. GLP, it provides the nuts and bolts, the procedures that ensure data is accurate and trustworthy. And then there's the whole idea of a quality system.
Yeah.
GLP is like a cornerstone of a solid quality system in these industries, providing those detailed standards for how the lab operates.
Right. So if we had to sum it up for our listeners, what's the big takeaway here?
Okay, well, it boils down to this. GLP, it's not just a bunch of rules and regulations. It's the foundation of trust in safety data for products that can directly impact our health and the environment.
It's the real deal.
It is. It's not about paperwork. It's about ensuring that we're using reliable science to inform how we regulate these products.
And that's something that should matter to all of us, right?
Absolutely. And it makes you think, what about other industries where reliable data is just as crucial? Like, think about environmental monitoring, maybe even some areas of manufacturing.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this.
What if we took these same rigorous standards, this focus on data integrity and reliability, and applied it more broadly? How would that affect our confidence in those sectors?
That's a really interesting thought, something to ponder for sure. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.